Hi, I'm Miriam Manzo. Welcome back to my channel. As you know, I was in High Point, North Carolina a couple of weeks ago. This is the industry's biggest show of the year. It happens twice a year, in the spring and then in the fall, but most in the know that the spring is the time to go. So, various reasons why designers go to High Point. One of them is to do purchasing. So we are buying from the wholesalers, as this is only open to the wholesale trade. The other reason is for inspiration. This is the show that showcases all the trends for not only the coming year, but really for the next few. Now, as you know, my style is very classic. You don't really notice trends, and you wouldn't call what I do trendy, and that's why I get the longevity in my designs. But that's not to say that I don't incorporate trends into my classic look. And today we're going to look through some of the trends that I feel are the hottest right now and that will be going forward, will stay and have longevity. And these are trends that depending on how they're utilized, can date a room quickly, but if they're incorporated in the right way, they will have longevity, and some of these will become classics. So let's start with the trends that I saw. The first was in seating. So you may have already noticed curved seating is everywhere. Not just in sofas, but you're going to see it in chairs as well. So either a curved back or a roll for the back. Legs are curved. We're seeing a lot of three-legged chairs. And then, as mentioned, the curved sofas. So tufting is absolutely out. Channeling, however, is still in. And with these curved sofas, you'll notice that they're constructed as one piece. In other words, we don't have a loose seat cushion. So you've heard me talk about how I love down fill for my sofas. With a curved sofa, you don't have that cushion. Now, these sofas to me are best in a bedroom, in a living room, a formal living room, where they're not getting a lot of use, because you're not really going to flop around on these and watch TV. However, there are still curves in the sofas that are meant for those everyday use rooms. And we're going to be showing you throughout today's talk ways to use and incorporate these trends into your homes. The other thing you're going to notice about, and if you saw our video on my reaction to the home of Gwyneth Paltrow, sculptural furniture is huge. You're going to see that in chairs. Again, used in a small dose, can have longevity. Like anything, too much of one thing is just too much. So you don't want to have these sculptural pieces of furniture spread throughout the house. If you bring them in small doses, they can absolutely stand the test of time. So you're going to see sculptural furniture in chairs, you're going to see it in tables, and you're going to even see it in case goods. Texture is another huge trend. Wallpapers, layering of textures is going to be huge. That whole cocooning. You're seeing the texture on furniture. We've talked about fluting in the past. So you're going to have fluting in upholstered furniture, beds, sofas. You're going to see it in case goods. So for example, the apron of tables. The doors of cabinetry. Even in kitchens, you're seeing a lot of it. Fluted walls, one of my favorite. And one of the things I noticed, and I'll show you here, is they took barn doors, which are usually just a slab door, or sometimes you see it paneled, but they added the fluting to the barn door, and it just elevated it and made it a statement as a backdrop. The other thing I saw was where they took a slab barn door and they added trim detail to it to make panels. This is an easy way for a do-it-yourselfer to bring texture to a wall, either running pieces of trim horizontally just to bring texture, or as mentioned on this barn door. Panels on the walls are still huge, a detail that we all know I love to incorporate in my projects. And then back to our sculptural tables, again with texture, so tables that have a rough hewn to them, and then tables that are smooth, so marble tables are everywhere. Again, the combination of marble and sculptural. The other thing that I saw and I've been loving doing is multiples of tables. So having 3, 4, even 7. One of the tricks I like to do is to mix ottomans with our coffee tables. And then mirrors. So back to the curves, it's everywhere. You're seeing it in doorways, you're seeing the archways in cabinetry, but even in mirrors, we're seeing sculptural mirrors, either curved top or dimensional or shaped of some sort. And again, either used as one or in a multiple. Again, marble is just everywhere. We're seeing your hood fan is now completely encased in marble. We're doing a show wall in your kitchen. The unkitchen kitchen is a trend where it is basically about that feature wall. And these marbles are often honed, my favorite finish. They can be leathered, which gives the marble a very textural finish and makes it impervious to any staining. But it's really about the book matching of your patterns, and also very heavily veined marbles. Colored marbles. We're seeing incredible things being done in the kitchen with whole islands being of marble. And then a trend that's been around for a while and is not going to stop anytime soon is brass. Now, this is not the brass of the 80s that was polished and shiny. Today's brass is a satin finish. And again, my favorite is when it's unlacquered, which means they leave off that last finish, which gives the brass a live finish. That means it's going to tarnish over time, and it's just going to really bring out the beauty of the metal. And you're seeing this brass again, whole hood fans are doing it. Not only that, we're seeing it as cabinet doors as well. We're seeing light fixtures. We're seeing brass detail brought into our floors and our wall details, and even in our cabinetry, either on the feet or mixed in with woods, or as the backdrop to those woods in open cabinets. And then beige and gray are the big colors. So we're still seeing gray, but it's not as cool as in the years past. I've been using a very warm gray as my main palette for about 5 years now, and that color is continuing to go forward, but we're seeing it brought back in with beige. Now, all of these trends, if used again, just all the trends in one room, are going to give you a room that is going to date eventually. What you want to do again is pick and choose some of these trends and then incorporate it into your rooms. The next trend incorporates one of my favorite design details, which is the ceiling. So I've always felt the ceiling is the fifth wall, and you know that I love to bring my detail up there. So one of the big trends that we're seeing is wallpapering the ceiling. So this can be done either just with wallpaper on the ceiling, or it can be done as incorporating a smaller pattern with a bolder pattern on the walls, or vice versa, a bold pattern on the ceiling and then keeping it quiet on the walls, so that again, it's just about bringing in texture. Lighting, I've always said, really makes the design and the room. So again, here's an area where no exception. We're seeing a lot of texture. We are seeing sculptural lighting. So the old chandeliers with the crystals are kind of out. And now the crystal is more about being shaped, and the light being more about metal or having strands of crystals hanging. The other thing that I have fallen in love with is multiple lightings. So we're seeing 2, 3, 4 chandeliers being used. And we're not talking pendants, we're talking full-size chandeliers. It's a great way, if you've got a large room and high ceilings, to really anchor that room. And then we're taking sculptural lighting even in our sconces. So again, the sconces of yesterday, which were the ones with shades, or your typical vanity sconce that's a straight line up and down, are now being given way to, again, more sculptural, having some form, some shape to it. Now, the one thing I caution you that when buying lighting, you need to look at the wattage of your lights. I've seen far too often a large fixture and then it has one bulb that can only be 40 watts. You need to understand how to be able to properly gauge the wattage required for your room. And the first thing is to know what that light is doing. Is it offering ambiance, or is it a task light? So these are important things, and we can do a video on that. Let me know your thoughts on some of the design rules. Carpet sizes, for example, choosing the height for your lights, that sort of thing. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see a video on that. So the last few years we've seen fireplaces as being a huge feature wall in the rooms, and it's usually been done the exact same, where you see a big slab of porcelain or marble, very flat, with a fireplace, usually long and linear, and then a TV on top. As you know, I'm not a fan of a TV on a fireplace. I like to keep my fireplace as the focal point. Now what we're seeing with fireplaces is we're going back to old school fireplace design, where it's actually a mantle. But what's new about it is these mantles are being created again out of the most spectacular marbles, where they're giving dimension to the marble. Color, as I said, is back strong. We're making that fireplace a focal point, but we're doing it with color, with texture, and with lots and lots of lines and details. The biggest trend this year is boucle. Now, for those of you who don't know, boucle is a type of fabric, very nubby, and you usually see it in white or cream, but colors are being introduced. But my favorite way is still obviously the white, and we're seeing it in beds, we're seeing it ottomans, we're seeing it in chairs, in sofas, in basically all forms of seating. One of my favorite ways to use this trend, which comes back to, again, my classic style, is to incorporate it with classic architecture. Full-on paneled walls, full-on chandeliers with the crystal, again, in the new form, and then to add sculptural finish or fixtures, tables and whatnot, to soften the curves of the boucle, because you're going to almost exclusively see the boucle on curved furniture. So this showroom in particular was my absolute favorite standout showroom of the week. Again, this is the MMI Design signature style. Classic architecture, beautiful case goods, and then why this worked for me was the amount of greens and flowers that were incorporated into the design, as well as the fact that if you notice, all the furniture is boucle, and it's almost exclusively the one color. So boucle, I think out of all the trends, are the ones that you're going to see incorporated into most people's houses. You're going to see them on curtains, you're going to see them at your local home sense, you're going to see it filter into a lot of places. Again, I caution you, you're either going to go all out, as in my favorite showroom, and know that eventually that'll have had its day, or you're going to bring it into small doses, just like the other trends. I want to thank you for joining us today. High point for me was definitely a fabulous 4 days. I don't do it every year. It's a lot, I'll be honest with you, but it was time to get back after the lockdowns that we've had and be inspired, and I truly was. Let us know in the comments how we're doing and if you have any questions, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and click that bell icon so you'll be notified of our future videos. Thanks for coming along today. I'm Miriam Manzo.